In my last video, I touched on this building. I showed it briefly, and I'm going to dive in deeper to that. And then we're going to take a look at a travel log of somebody who had seen it, one of the first people to write about it, one of these British travelers. Anyway, this is the Mingun Pagoda. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce that, but this is said to be an incomplete monument stupa. What do you call me? Stupa. In Mingun, approximately 10 kilometers northwest of Mandalay. Not Mandalay Bay, not that Vegas thing. We're talking about something in central Myanmar, formerly Burma. The ruins are the remains, they say, of a massive construction project begun by King Pagoda in 1790, which was intentionally left unfinished. There's a story for you about that. The path to the doggy, or Pagoda, is seen as the physical manifestation of Pagoda's well-known eccentricities. He set up an observation post on an island off Mingun to personally supervise the construction of the temple. It's like the emperor is coming here. He is going to personally supervise the construction of the temple to keep you on schedule. Pagoda Maung wine used thousands of prisoners of war. Yeah, he deported 20,000 people to central Burma as slaves working on the construction of the stupa. The construction was also seen as taking a heavy toll on the people and the state. In some of the literature I read, it said that the slaves were working alongside with paid people and volunteers. Like, what? Thus, a prophecy was allegedly created to stop the project. Boy, they bamboozled him. Yeah, they were deeply dissatisfied with what was going on, so they allegedly utilized the king's deep superstitions to prophesy that as soon as the building, the pagoda you're building, as soon as it's finished, the country would be gone and you're going to die. So supposedly, construction was slowed to prevent the prophecy's realization. So as soon as he hears that, then it kind of blows his whole idea. So why would, whatever. And when the king died, the project was completely halted. Well, shouldn't they have finished it to make the prophecy come true? A model pagoda nearby, known as the the Panda Pagoda, typical of many large pagoda projects, like whatever, offers a small scale of what would have been. Sure. Yeah, see, this is what it could have, would have been, should have been. 150-meter tall temple. But still, it holds the record of being the largest pile of bricks in the world. Now, this is interesting because this building is a big pile of bricks. By the time it was completely abandoned, the pagoda had attained a height of 50 meters. And keep in mind, the dimensions on the length and width of it, I think, are 70 meters. So it's, I think, 70 meters by 70 meters by 50 meters. And get this, it's pretty much shown to be and thought to be solid bricks. It's bricks all the way. You'd think that they'd just have it be hollow in the center, maybe just some earth in the center, maybe some sand. Nope, it's bricks. That's what makes it so curious, among a few other things to me. Now, this is associated with this gigantic bell, and you've seen this before, I believe. The Mingun bell. It weighs 90 tons. That's 200,000 pounds. But it's only the second largest ringing bell in the world. The weight of the bell in Burmese measurement is 55,555 vis, or pikeha. Really? What? This gets weird. Because of numerology, they even admit it. Because, yeah, the consonants represent the number 5 in Burmese astronomy and numerology. Wouldn't it be astrology? But whatever. This is Wikipedia. How could it be wrong? So you'd think, oh, this is near some metropolis, so it'd be easy to build and all this. No, even today, you can only access this by a ferry. then you have to walk a ways or take a bullock cart from the river jetty. So anyway, yeah, so how they constructed it, it's interesting, like from where. But when you look at the pictures, you can see it's a lot of bricks. It's a lot of bricks. And it's cracked from this earthquake, they say. And I think it's interesting that it has 3 entrances. And now, on the outside of it, there are these 2, they're called stone lions. They're not stone, they're bricks. And again, they're bricks all the way through. All the way into the middle, they're bricks. You'd think they could just put in some filler dirt or something. No, they didn't do it that way. They stacked bricks from the bottom to the top. And apparently the heads fell off of these stone lions. Okay, and a lot of people think they look like elephants. They don't know where the heads are. Apparently one of the eyes is there. It's a weird teardrop shape. It's made of solid marble and weighs like 1,000 pounds or something. But these are a lot of bricks. So the scale of these things is magnificent. The Mingun bell I talked about, it weighs, they say 199,999 pounds. Why not just round it up? It's not like it was actually measured with something of that precision. It's estimated. Oh my. But it's a big bell. And yeah, it was photographed in 1873 and then photographed again in 1896. And I think it's interesting that the photograph taken in 1896 looks, I mean, you look at these ruins, they look just like they do today. But back then they were only 100 years old. Now they're over 200 years old. They look almost exactly the same. I think it's much more ancient than they say. I think the construction by the king with the 20,000 supposed slaves was more of a remodel or something they tried to do with it. Maybe they tried to make the rooms inside of it, take bricks out. Who knows? But you can see it's just breaking apart. It seems a lot older, but there's so many bricks. And around it are bricks. There are these drainage areas, the so-called stone lions. They were maybe thought to be stone because of the encasement on the outside, but it's all bricks on the inside. To me, it almost just seems like they came across a vast number of bricks and they just started stacking them up at some point. I don't know. Because there are bricks everywhere in that whole area you go around. There are bricks everywhere. And it looks like it's a building. Now, there's practically nothing on the inside, only a few small niches, like false entrances. And in those entrances, the people who walked in, I watched the videos, you just walk in a few feet and it's kind of open overhead to the top of that little area. They have, I don't know, 30 feet up or something. There's kind of a ceiling to it. Light comes in through the crack of the one. But they've bricked it off. You can tell the hallway goes deeper inside, but they've literally bricked it off and tried to make it look like that's the same bricks. But there's more to it. Now, it does seem, from the outside, it looks like it's solid bricks. But the chambers on the inside, they kind of go in. Now, I found this interesting in this old drawing of it. You can see it looked like ruins way back then before photography, and the little entrances on the sides, maybe the first one's original, but that's kind of part of the building, part of the sheer wall, and then they must have built it out and made it successively smaller. Maybe that was just to avoid having the bricks fall on their heads when they were trying to remove bricks and enter the building and see if there's anything inside like treasure. That's probably really what those 4 entrances were, to just kind of get to the middle. Maybe it was a contest and different groups tried to see who could get to the middle faster because they probably thought there was a treasure. It's probably like they thought maybe a vault, where if you really don't want somebody to get their hands on something, then just pile bricks around it. But I don't know. They say it's a pagoda, a stupa. And yeah, it's a rectangular building. So let's talk about how many bricks are in it, because somebody said it's like one of the largest piles of bricks. It just looks like a giant pile of bricks. So it's the bottom third of supposedly what they were going to build, but what's there is 70 meters wide, I think 70 meters deep, and 50 meters high. Now, I had a hard time actually calculating. Maybe somebody can do their best and put it in the comments, but to calculate the total number of bricks that would be by volume. And so I pull up these brick masonry calculators, but they assume that you're building a wall, like Trump. I'm building a wall. Well, the wall itself, 70 meters by 50 meters high, a wall with a depth of about 10 centimeters, that already would require 175,000 bricks. And so I just took that 10 centimeters and then calculated it out to what it would be to make up the 70 meters. And this is not counting the stone lions. This is just that cube of bricks. And what I got from that, and I could be wrong, but was 123 million bricks. Not counting the stone lions, not counting the base area around it. When you walk up to it, that's all bricks. There's bricks everywhere. Now, I didn't see anybody else. Nobody else. This is what's so weird. All the write-ups about this building say the same thing, that it's an unfinished. They say the same thing almost word for word, no matter how far back you go. I had to go back to the original account of it, and then even that didn't say much different. But nobody bothered to calculate how many bricks it would be, except one person said over 20 million bricks. But I think it's about 123 million bricks, but I don't know. Somebody can tell me if I'm wrong. But yeah, when you look at it, the photograph from 1896 of the bell, you can see the building in the background, and it just looks the same. Oh, well, there was an earthquake in 1836, and that kind of broke it up. Well, yeah, possibly. So next we're going to look at the travel log, which is of Colonel Sladen's account of not only the pagoda at Mingun, but a lot of other stuff I found interesting. So that'll be another video. That's from 1868, where I'm going to read through the highlights, because I read, it said 885 pages. I don't think it was that long, but I did go through the whole thing, and I pulled out the most interesting parts of it for you if you're interested. So stay tuned for that. Glad to have you here, and we'll catch you next time.